Good afternoon, Villa fans, and welcome to a match preview of Thursday night's Europa Cup game week 6, I believe, against FC Basel of Switzerland. So we're playing yet another Swiss opponent after beating Young Boys a couple of weeks ago, a couple of weeks ago even. So let's have a look at FC Basel, who are going to prove to be a much sterner test, I would believe. So grab yourselves a coffee, favourite biscuit. Let's have a deep dive into FC Basel and talk about them. I want to start this off with a brain teaser. Like I always do, I try to find a player who's played for both teams, and there is one player who has played for FC Basel and Aston Villa. I think we bought him from FC Basel. So there's your first clue. It was he played for Basel between 2015 and 2016. 57 appearances, 16 goals. Joined Villa in 2016, stayed until 2018. 52 appearances, 6 goals for the Villa. He is the record holder for his nation in terms of international caps. I won't give away his nation because I think that'll make it too easy, but he holds the record for international caps for his country. He just retired a couple of months ago in September 2025, aged 37 years of age. He did score his country's first goal in a major tournament in 2016 against Portugal. And also his country went on to knock out England. Probably giving it away there, but there you go. Answers in the comments, please. Somebody get you thinking while you're listening to this. Who is the mystery player that's played for FC Basel and played for Aston Villa? There is only one. Answers in the comments. So let's have a look at Basel. Current form. Sitting third in the Swiss Super League at the moment. 7 points behind the leaders FC Thun. 1 point behind second place St Gallen. Young Boys have since dropped down to fourth. So Basel sitting third. 25 goals scored, 18 conceded. Joint best defence in the league, but don't score many goals. 25 goals scored, which basically, to give you a comparison, Young Boys have scored 34 goals at the same time, whereas Basel have only scored 25. So 9 more goals for Young Boys. There are 4 teams that have scored less than them. So just to give you that, they are the 7th lowest goal scorers out of 12 teams in the Swiss league. So they're having some issues in front of goal. But let's talk about them and get into them a bit. So manager is a guy called Ludovic Magnon, who was only appointed on the 1st of July of this year. Come from another Swiss team called Lausanne. Typically plays a 4-4-1-1. Playing career-wise, spent most of his career at FC Stuttgart as a left-back, represented Switzerland in various World Cups and European competitions as well. So, it's his big break in managerial, I suppose, managing someone like FC Basel. So he's going to want to take this opportunity, but very early on in his Basel career, and maybe having some teething problems by the sounds of it. Last 5 games. So domestically, they have recently beat the bottom team, Winterthur, 2-1. Xherdan Shaqiri, familiar name to most, I would imagine. I'll come on to him in more detail. And they got a 90th minute winner. Maybe not as, Emi Buendia scenes, but they had a guy called Tsunamoto. He's a Japanese right back. They also missed a penalty in that game as well. Ortelli, who I'll come on to in a moment as well, missed a penalty for them. But yeah, 90th minute winner against the bottom place team. Previous to that, 3-1 win in the Swiss Cup against some amateur team who they had to switch the game to Basel's ground because that team that they were playing, their stadium was not ready to cope. So that can just give you an idea of the level of team they were playing. 3-1 win. Benny Traore getting 2, and I'll come on to him in a moment. And that Philip Otele scoring 1 as well. And then a 0-0 draw with St Gallen, who currently sit in second. And in that game, Xherdan Shaqiri missed a penalty to steal the points. And then before that, a 1-1 draw with Grasshoppers. Great name. Benny Traore scoring again. And they also got a red card in that game. One of their young midfield players, Bassinas, with a red card. Then a 1-0 loss to Lugano. And again, Xherdan Shaqiri missing a penalty. So missing 2 in his last, in those 3 games, missing 2 penalties. So not doing very well from the penalty spot there, Xherdan Shaqiri. Europa League campaign, obviously we're 5 games in. Most recently, they've lost 2-1 to Genk of Belgium, where Philip Ortelli scored their goal. Then they beat Steaua Bucharest, as everyone seems to, 3-1. Shaqiri grabbing 2 and Salah grabbing 1. Not Mo Salah, but Ibrahim Salah, but no relation to Mo. They also got Steaua Bucharest actually got a red card in that game after 12 minutes. So that 3-1 scoreline kind of, flattered them a little bit, I suppose, but they were playing against 10 men for a long time in that game. So, 3-1 win, Steaua down to 10 after 12. Then they lost 2-0 to Lyon, but they beat Stuttgart 2-0, which is quite a big scalp for them. Ajete scoring a goal for them and Shaqiri getting his name on the score sheet as well. And then they opened their Europa League campaign up with a 2-1 defeat against German opposition in Freiburg again, and Philip Ortelli getting a goal there. They were due to be in the Champions League, but they lost their qualifying game to FC Copenhagen, 3-1 on aggregate. So therefore, moved down to the Europa League, whereas they should have been in the Champions League. So, and as I mentioned, there is one player that has played for both teams. Have a little think about that. Answers in the comments. I think I might have given it away with that last clue, but there you go. So top goal scorers this season, Xherdan Shaqiri, he's 34 years old, knows where the back of the net is, 11 goals in 26 appearances. Don't let him shoot is the answer there. Basically, anywhere near the box, that guy's going to let it rip, and he's got a really good shot on him. So do not let him get edge of the box and shoot. Close him down. Sit camera on him and close him down. 11 goals in 26 for Xherdan Shaqiri, having a really good season, playing in that free role behind the front man. Philip Ortelli is a left winger who's got 8 goals in 26 games. He's Nigerian, so probably be at AFCON as well. But left winger, he's 26-year-old. The funny fact about Philip Ortelli that I found out is that he went to Teeside University and started his footballing career in the lower leagues of sort of the Middlesbrough, youth leagues and things like that. And then he went to join a team in Lithuania. Then from Lithuania, went to Romania. From Romania, he went out to UAE to play for Al Wada. And then Basel bought him initially on loan and then made that loan deal permanent just this summer. So he's had a bit of a journey from the Teeside University FC to now Europa League with Basel. So Philip Ortelli is a danger player, absolutely. 8 goals in 26. The next player is Benny Traore. 5 goals in 16 appearances. Ivorian winger, plays on the right-hand side. He actually was picked up from Sheffield United, 4.5 million. Only made 9 appearances for Sheffield United, and I think 8 of those in the Premier League when they were in the Premier League. Didn't really stand out. I don't really remember him, but they bought him for 4.5 million. And he plays on the right wing. Small, nippy, quick, direct winger. So he'll be a danger player for them. Other familiar names that they may have is Albin Ajete, who had 9 appearances at West Ham, 0 goals. Played for Celtic as well, 27 appearances, 8 goals for them. 6-foot striker, 28 years of age, Swiss international. Not someone that's going to run away from you as such, but maybe more of a sort of target man option to have. He's been in and out of the first team. They also have a signing that they've got up front called Brosheneski, 1.8 from Bochum in the German league. Not really settled, 6'2", 25-year-old, 23 appearances and only 2 goals. And they both came in the Swiss Cup. So he's yet to open his account for them in, League or Europa League. And we know what that means. He'll probably score at Villa, probably score against Aston Villa on Thursday. But he's a player there. Danger players, as I mentioned for them. Also, Ibrahim Salah, who is a left winger for them, 24-year-old, again, 6 foot tall, so quite big. He's Moroccan. He's not Egyptian. He's no relation to Mo Salah. They bought him for 2 million from Rennes, and he's currently got 2 goals and 16 appearances, most of those coming off the bench, but he'll be a danger player when he gets on the pitch. They sold their one of their top goal scorers from last season, a guy called Kevin Carlos, to Nice. I think he was the Evan Gasson replacement. 6 million to Nice. And he was a big source of goals for them last season, but hasn't really settled at Nice this season. But yeah, he's no longer there. Now, transfers, they've recently come in this season. They bought a player called Metinho, 4 million, had him on loan from Troyes in France, made it permanent for 4 million. Same with Philip Otele. He was on loan and they've made it permanent. 3 million from Al Wada in UAE. He's a danger player for them. Ibrahim Salah, as I mentioned there, 2 million from Rennes. And Brzezinski, 1.8 from Bochum of Germany. But really yet to find his scoring boots. But if we look at the players that Basel have had throughout the years, I mean, this is littered with players who currently play in the Premier League. So people come and join Basel. Basel got a terrific scouting network. They buy players cheap, build them up, give them the platform, sell them on. Now, this is obviously the lifeblood of most of these sort of, these sort of sides. And, they have got a really, really good success rate with some of their players. Obviously, their most famous player to come out of Basel is Mo Salah. He was someone who they bought for 2.5 million. And then they sold him to Chelsea back in 2013 for 16 million. So turned around a huge profit in a year. But I remember watching him playing for Basel in that campaign and remember thinking, wow, who the hell is this guy? He looked very, very decent for them, direct, quick. So you can guarantee they've got an eye for a player. And maybe one of these guys currently, like Philip Otele, Benny Traore, now back here as well, they're going to be players who move on to bigger and better careers. But I can give you a rundown of players that are currently playing in the Premier League or have played in the Premier League or globally that, that have come through the Basel team. So people like Tiano Barry, who recently joined Everton. He was sold from Basel to Villarreal for 20 million. And I think Everton have picked him up for like 30, 35 million, is it? So he's one player that's come through recently. Renato Vega, currently at Chelsea. He was sold by Basel for 14 million. Nasser Dija, who I believe currently is at Wolverhampton Wanderers, they picked him up they sold him to Red Star for 4.3 million, and then he's since joined Wolverhampton for about 15 to 20 million, I think it was. Other players that they've had, Zeki Amdouini, playing for, I think it's Burnley at the moment. They sold him to Burnley for 18 million. So there you go. Calafiori, the Arsenal defender. They sold him to Bologna for 24 million. And then Bologna sold him a year later to Arsenal for 45 million. So, that's what they do. Dan Ndoye, currently at Nottingham Forest. So they sold him to Bologna as well for 16 million. And then Bologna have sold him for 40 million to Forest. Alderete, currently at Sunderland. They sold him to Hertha Berlin, 4 million. He's now playing in the Premier League. Noah Okafor, currently at Leeds. They sold him to Salzburg for 11 million. Who else have they got? Akanji, who played at Man City for so many years. They sold him to Borussia Dortmund originally for 21 million. And then he obviously moved on to Man City. And now I don't know where he is, Inter Milan now. Other players, Fabian Schär, doing a very good job at Newcastle. He's come through the Basel team. El Nene, who remember at Arsenal, I'm not sure where he is currently, but he came through Basel's team as well. Mo Salah, who we've just spoken about, being their most famous player probably. Granit Xhaka, who's having a great season for Sunderland. He came through the Basel team as well. I think he was sold on into Germany and then further on to Arsenal and then, here, there and everywhere. And then back to Sunderland. Ivan Rakitic, a player who's graced the kit of Barcelona, Inter Milan, and a few other teams as well. Great player to have. He came through the Basel team. Jan Sommer, again, a goalkeeper who plays for Inter Milan at the moment. I think he was part of their Champions League winning run or things like that. So he's been a terrific goalkeeper for them. So what I'm saying is that Basel have an eye for a player. And they like to buy them young, sell them on for huge profits. And I'm sure that a few of these players that are coming through are going to be the next in the production line. So we need to be wary. We can't just take it as a given that, we've beaten young boys and, same sort of league, same sort of level, same sort of position in the league. It's going to be a different game. Basel are more experienced. They've got more technically better players. Like Shaqiri is a danger. You give him a free kick or any chance around the box to shoot, that's fine in the top corner. They've got wingers, Otele and Traore, who will want to, this is their window, shop window time for these guys. Do you know what I mean? Go out there, play well, catch the eye, get yourself and double, triple, quadruple your salary somewhere else. So these guys are going to be on it and they're at home. They're not coming to Villa Park. They're in their own backyard, St Jakobs Park, I think it's called. So we need to be wary of Basel. I think we can still win this game and keep the run going. But what I'm saying is that we cannot take these guys lightly. Let's go into it with the right frame of mind. I think Unai Emery will have them all, G'd up for the game, I'm sure. There will be maybe some rotation with West Ham in mind on Sunday. I fully expect Daniel Marlon to be starting this game. Maybe even Marco Bizzo in goal if Martinez needs a little bit of time with his back, that he's had his problems. Maybe a Victor Lindelof to give Powell a little bit of a break, or Konsa a break. Those sort of little changes could happen. But I want to see, they've got big defenders. I want to see the likes of Onana playing in this game for physicality. I think Kamara needs to play as well. Maybe Tielemans, obviously he's coming back from that injury. He's playing too many games too soon. Is it too much for him? Maybe he's one to come off the bench. Buendia, obviously after his goal-winning antics, could he now be in line for a start here in Switzerland? So there's lots of things that can come into play. And obviously I think we'll get more information as Unai does his press conference on Wednesday, I believe it's going to be, what the team news is from that. Evan Gassond as well, obviously due to go out to AFCON soon. Is he going to be back? Could this be his last kind of game to play against Young Boys? Sorry, not Young Boys, Basel. So yeah, it's an interesting one. Score prediction wise, I'm going to go for a Villa win. I'm going to go for a tight game. I'm going to go for a 1-0 Aston Villa victory. I can't see Basel. They're struggling to score domestically. Are they really going to hurt us? Depending on what team we put out, obviously. Hopefully it's strong and we can rest some players as the game is going on, perhaps. But I'm going to go for a 1-0 Villa win, a close game, but just about getting a win. I'm going to go for Daniel Marlon. Why not? Why not to score a goal? So there's my prediction, guys. But guys, do smash a like. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. I need 29 more subscribers to hit 500. If you're enjoying the content, do let me know. And just before I go, let me give you the answer to the mystery player who's played for both teams. As I mentioned to you, 113 caps for his national team. National team is Iceland. Giving it away now. And I retired in September, scored the first goal for Iceland against Portugal in 2016 in the Euros, was part of the Iceland team who knocked out England in the in the last 16 to reach the quarterfinals. We'll remember that. Was it Steve McLaren in charge? I think it was. No, it wasn't Steve McLaren in charge. He was doing the commentary, wasn't he? That was that famous clip. So that game, it's Berke Bjarnason. Still remember him and love him for his goal against Wolves. That was a great finish, wasn't it? I think that's the only memory I have of him, really. Just taking it down, smashing it low and hard. Berke Bjarnason, there you go, mate. Enjoy your retirement, 37 years of age. Put your feet up. Still supporting the Villa, hopefully. And yeah, he's your player who's played for FC Basel and played for Aston Villa. How many of you got that? Let me know in the comments. See you later.